Sat writing section is by practice. If you have a good hold of the language, then this would be very simple for you. But if you really don't, then you will face difficulties while solving this. So I'm here to help you. I'll just be dealing with some rules under subject verb agreement that would help you to choose the right answer. So I'm sure that you know this topic and it would be very easy for you. Okay. So in the SAT writing section, the subject verb agreement questions test your ability to ensure that the verb in the sentence matches the number, singular or plural, of the subject.
Mom, if you have changed the slide, I can't see the slide changed.
Oh, hello. Is it? I think I'll have to reshare it. Can you see it now? Can you see it, Ananya?
Yes, Mom, I can see it.
Can you see me?
No, I can't see you. Yes, now I can see you.
On this view. See the board. So that need this. Yes. So we will be dealing with the subject verb agreement today. So we have Avishi in class. She just came in class. So I think everybody was late today. She also joined late. Okay, no problem. We'll try to complete this today's lecture, and I think it is quite easy. We'll complete it. Okay, so in the SAT writing section, subject verb agreement questions test your ability to ensure that the verb in the sentence matches the number, singular or plural, of the subject. Now, if you look at a sentence, what are the three essential parts of a sentence? The sentence always has three parts. So you already have the names of two parts in the topic itself, subject and the verb. The third one is object. Okay, and this is the standard format, subject, verb and object. So I'll give you an example. My mom cooks delicious. Now, what is the subject in this sentence? Anybody if you can answer?
My mom.
Yes. So we have my mom as the subject. What is cooks? It is the verb. And what about delicious food? It is the object. So this is the standard format. And if you know about the passive voice and the active voice, which the structure of the sentence is in which form? Passive or active?
Active.
It is active. Okay, so try to change this sentence into the passive form.
Delicious food is cooked by my mom.
Perfect. Delicious. By my mom. Now here again, my mom will remain the subject. Okay, is cooked will be the verb, and delicious food will remain the object. Okay, so the designation that we have given to the particular word or words will not change. Only the position is changing. And we have just added this word by. Okay. So, but the things remain same. And also remember that we have just changed the form of the tense. So here it was cooks and here it was is cooked. But again, only the structure changes. The verb, the subject, and the objects remain the same. So this is the first thing that you have to remember while you are dealing with subject verb agreement questions, because students tend to make mistakes when there are questions with sentences that have inverted sentences, or maybe they have prepositional phrases or these passive sentences. So you have to be very careful. The first step that you you have to follow while you are dealing with subject verb agreement questions, you have to identify the verb. Identifying the verb in the sentence is very important. After identifying the verb, you can identify the subject. But first thing you have to identify the verb. Okay. These questions typically involve identifying and correcting sentences where the subject and verb do not agree grammatically. Okay, so definitely, did you have this subject in school, this topic, subject verb agreement? Okay, so both of you have some idea about it. That's great. Yes. So the three parts of the sentences: subject, verb, and object. Subject and verb agreement may be tested in one form of second. Okay, form, structure, and sense questions that you encounter on test day. Now we have three structures of the sentence. Okay, so first we have this form, structure, and sense. So what do you understand by form? If I say what is the form of the sentence? So the form of the sentence can be, is the sentence in a singular form or a plural form? Okay. The structure, again, if I'm dealing with structure, it would be either active or passive. And if I'm dealing with sense, what do you mean by the sense of the sentence? Would anybody want to try? Do you know what is the meaning of sense? See, if you are very much fluent in English, then these questions, the subject verb agreement questions, they won't be requiring any effort. As soon as you read the question, you will understand the error. Because every sentence has a purpose and it needs to make sense. Okay, if we go deep into this, then if we talk about the form and the sense, okay, the content, let's talk about the content and the sense. So basically the content is the sentence, and what is sense? The meaning. When will the sentence make meaning? If it is grammatically right. If it is grammatically not right, then it might make meaning, but it will not be able to convey its purpose. Okay, so the sentence should make sense. So you have to identify whether, so basically you will have to deal with errors of subject verb agreement. And there, first step, you can identify whether the subject or the verb. So sentences could be like this. You might have a blank, and the subject would be given to you or the verb would be given to you. One thing among two will be definitely given to you. So you have to identify what is the subject. If the subject is singular, the verb needs to be plural. Okay, so this you have to remember. This is actually the main rule that comes under, this is the utmost important rule that comes under subject verb agreement. If the subject is singular, the verb has to be plural. So you have to identify the structure of the sentence, active or passive. Even if it is passive, it does not change the designation of words. And the last thing, when you just add in your word or your group of words from the option, you have to just make sure that the sentence makes sense. It should convey some meaning in the right. Okay? So you must be able to identify which words are verbs before you can check their subjects. First thing, very important, you have to check what are the verbs in the sentence. So, do you know, if I talk about singular and plural, okay? Do you know what is first person, second person, and third person? I'm talking about pronouns.
Yes.
So, who will help me fill this table? Ananya, you will fill this side.
Okay.
And Avishi will fill this side. Tell me what is first person singular, what pronouns?
I,
I,
me, myself,
myself. What else? Anything else?
mm, No, I don't think so.
Yes, not really. Okay. What about second person singular?
You.
What else?
I think that's it.
Singular third person?
He, she, it.
He, she, it. Okay, perfect. Now let us move to plural. Avishi, tell me what is first person plural? He. Okay. Second person plural? They, them.
Ma'am, I think they would come in third person, right?
It would be you all, they, or them. Okay. Now, if I have to see, there are always helping verbs. If I have to complete this sentence, what will I fill in the blank to make the sentence meaningful? Okay. We have, or the second option would be had. I had completed my work. Okay. So this same rule will go with this. She. No, this is different. So the same rule will go with the second person. You have or had completed your work. Okay, but when we are dealing with this third person singular, it will change to has. So she has completed her work, he has completed his work. Okay, and the same thing will go with this. We have completed our work. You will have completed your work. Okay, you all will have completed your work. Then they, them. What about this? Yes. So here again we have, but only when we are dealing with third person singular, we have has as a helping word. Okay? Has and had. Yes. Had is actually, it would be relevant with everything because had is a past perfect tense. Okay, but the main difference is have or has. So where you have to use have, for all this only has will be relevant with third person singular. So this is a helping word. Now I'll give you a few more examples. Okay, should I erase this? So usually in the SAT subject verb agreement questions. Okay, so like there would not be words like this. How I gave you an example. You always have to fill in the blanks with phrases. Okay, so phrases are a bit difficult when it comes to fill in the blanks with phrases. So while you are dealing with phrases, you have to keep in mind one more thing. So when I'm talking about the structure of the sentence, I talked about active and passive, right? Now I will talk about this. Simple, compound, and complex. So Avishi, can you tell me what is a simple sentence with an example? She does her work. She does her work. Okay. She does her work. Can you just break the sentence into this format? She is the subject. Okay. Does his work. And work is the object. Okay, perfect. Now, Ananya, can you give me an example of compound sentence? Give me a definition of a compound sentence and then an example.
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Okay. So, do you have any idea what is the difference between phrases and clauses? I'm sure you both might have done this in school, but you don't remember it right now, isn't it? What are phrases and what are clauses? Try to recollect it.
Clauses are something that maybe a particular person said that comes in double inverted commas.
It's apostrophe. If you are talking about the figure of speech, clauses has nothing to do with that. Clauses completely something different. Clauses, okay, I'll give you some example. So phrase would be, by the way, okay, this is the phrase, but the clause would be, so now we can identify the difference. Clause, okay, so phrases, they can never stand alone, but clauses, they can be independent. Okay, so clauses are basically of two types. We have independent clause that makes meaning, and we have dependent clause that needs some kind of, that needs an independent clause to make meaning for it. Okay, so now if we are talking about compound sentence, compound sentence is basically a combination of two independent clauses. Simple definition. A compound sentence is a combination of two independent clauses. So can you give me an example now, Ananya? I'll give you an example. I reached home late and went to sleep. Okay, so I reached home late. This is my first independent clause. I reached home late and went to sleep. Okay, this is my other independent clause. So I have one independent clause over here and other independent clause over here, and this is joined by a coordinating conjunction. I'll give you a list of coordinating and subordinating conjunctions. Okay, so in a compound sentence, we always use a coordinating conjunction, and in a complex sentence, we always use a subordinating conjunction. Okay, I'll give you a list, and then you will be able to identify the difference between. So the word and, it has the capability to join two independent clauses and make sense. But if you see the word since is a subordinate conjunction, and it does not have the ability to make two independent clauses join. It can only make an independent and a dependent clause come together in order to make meaning. Okay. So this was an example. So we have two independent clauses joined by a coordinating conjunction, and hence this will be termed as a compound sentence. Now, if we look at a complex sentence, we will have independent plus dependent, both of them in one sentence. So if the complex sentence needs to make meaning, then it should have a subordinating conjunction joining the independent and the dependent clause. Okay? I'll give you an example. As it was raining outside, I took my umbrella. Okay? Now, here you tell me which is the main clause and which is the subordinating clause? Do you have any idea? I'm sure you might have done this in school. This is the conditional. No, this is actually the adverb. This is an adverb clause. Let me tell you, and this is the adverb of reason. Now identify the main clause and the subordinate clause.
Main clause would be I took my umbrella, and subordinating clause would be as it was raining outside.
Perfect. So this is the main clause and this is the subordinate clause. Perfect. So the main clause is always the independent clause. I took my umbrella. This will be the independent clause and the dependent clause will be as it was raining outside. Because it does not make any sense if I remove this. Right? As it was raining outside, so what? Okay. So this, did you understand the difference between all three sentences? Now I hope you don't forget it because you will be using this knowledge throughout your Sat writing section. Today is the first session, hence I'm elaborating on everything so that it will be a quick revision for you as all what you have learned in your school already. Okay. So like this session would be, you might be able to recollect many things that you have done. Should I erase this? As it is there on the PPT, there might be some cases where the noun is after, where the subject is after the verb. So usually as we saw the SVO pattern, but this could be different. It could be VSO or OVS, something like this. But you have to always look at the verb at first, identify the verb at first, and then you'll be able to solve such questions. Also, sometimes do you know what are gerunds? So one more revision for you. You know what are gerunds? No? You know what are gerunds? Okay, have you heard this word before? No. Okay, Ananya is clueless. Do you know what are infinitives? No?
Heard the word before but can't recall.
Sorry?
Heard the word before but can't recall.
Okay. No problem. I'll tell you what are gerunds and infinitives. So gerunds are basically it is noun plus ing. Okay, and infinitives are basically to plus verb. Okay, so gerunds could be, I'll give you an example. Swimming is my only hobby. Okay, so in this, I'm using the word swimming as a noun, and hence it would be a subject. Okay, so here noun plus ing swimming. So the word swimming over here is not a verb. Though swim is a verb, and if I attach ing to it, what it becomes? It becomes a continuous verb. But here we are not using it as a verb. We are using it as a noun. And whenever we use ing nouns as subjects, they are known as gerunds. Okay. Similarly, infinitives, if I say this, I like to swim. Now here again, tell me what is the subject over here?
I.
I is the subject. I is the subject, like is the verb, and to swim, it will become the object. Okay, but if we look over here, swimming is the subject, is the verb, and my only hobby is object. So can you see now here we are using to swim as object, we are using swimming as a subject, and in this if I say that she is swimming. Okay, so here we are using the word swimming as a verb. Here we have, okay, so we don't have an object. Is swimming is a verb, If I write in the pool, this will be the object. Okay. So she will be the subject. So can you see now, I have used the word swim as a noun, as an object, sorry, as a subject, as an object, and as a verb. So this single word can serve different purposes in different sentences. So you need to know this. You need to know the purpose of the word. You need to identify it because that is very important, and this tends to confuse students a lot. Because there would be one option given like this, other option would be given like this, and the third option would be given like this. Each of this option makes sense. It has sense. But how will you be deciding the right answer? By the surrounding context of the question. You'll get to know what is the surrounding context, and accordingly you have to choose the word swimming in its right form. As a subject, as an object, or as a verb, you have to choose it in the right form. Let us move on to the next slide. Okay, so this is the most important thing. The subject-verb agreement is a convection of the standard English that requires a subject and the verb to agree in number. Should I erase this? Okay. So now this is actually a bit confusing, but it is very interesting. Okay. Both of these are verbs. Tell me which is a singular verb and which is a plural verb. Avish, you tell me. Will be singular. No. Like, it's vice versa. So the singular, but she likes to work. No. Let's just talk about these verbs. I'm not talking about the subject. Just focus on these two words, work and works. So, second one is singular. Okay, so works is singular and work is plural. Okay, so this is the right one. But if you look at subjects, basically the subject is a noun. Okay, so in school we had learned that whenever we have a noun plus s, it makes it plural. But here the rule is vice versa. So always remember this. Whenever you are talking about singular verbs, they will have an s. But whenever you are talking about singular subjects, they will not have an s. This is confusing, but if you remember this, this is the best. Like you are done with this topic. This is the only thing that you have to remember. Okay. So if you look at the examples, the apples is different from oranges. I'll write down this example. Apples is different from oranges. Okay, so here, so I have my subject, I have my verb, and I have my object. Now, both of these things need to agree with each other. Object is not something important. We are not going to look at the object if we are dealing with this. It is just, so like these are the three essential parts of the sentence, and hence you need to know which is the object. But here only we will be dealing with the subject and the verb agreement. Now, if we have the word apples, it is plural. So here we need to have are. Okay. You always have to focus on the subject that is the closest to the verb. Sometimes what happens when you have multiple subjects, I'll give you some more examples. When you have multiple subjects, what tends to happen? You focus on subjects that are okay. If the first subject is something plural, then you will think that the verb will also be plural, but this is wrong. Whenever you have multiple subjects, you have to focus on the subject that is the closest. You have to focus on the subject that is the closest to the verb. Okay. So the right one is apples are different from oranges. This was a very basic example. Okay. How to identify subject-verb agreement questions. So the first important thing is, as I told you, the form. The form is very important. The structure is very important. Form is basically you have to look at the sentence, that whether the verb and the subject is singular or plural. This is very important. Second one is form. The structure. Whenever we are dealing with structure, you have to look at whether the sentence is in passive voice or active voice, or whether it is a simple, compound, or complex sentence. What is it? And the sense questions. The sense, as I told you, it should make meaning. Okay. So basically, all the questions, they lie at just one criteria, that is the subject verb agreement. If the subject is singular, the verb needs to be plural, and vice versa. That's all. If you don't see these differences among the choices, then the question does not deal with subject verb agreement. Okay, so here basically, whenever we are dealing with the writing section, student gets confused. Like, what is the what should I focus on? What is the question dealing with? Because all the concepts are so overlapping, the student often tends to get confused that what should I look for in the options and what should I focus on the question. So just make sure that the subject and the verb in the sentence, if they are agreeing with each other, and if you just see a blank that is like as big as a clause or a phrase, and if you see that there are some options that have the subject and the verb, then you will get to know, okay, this question is something related to subject and the verb. Okay, so this is the first topic that we are doing today. As we move forward, you will be able to understand how overlapping all these topics. Your basics need to be very clear. Okay, so Ananya, can you read this slide for me?
Ma'am, on the PPT,
Yes.
I can only see the overview.
Oh, you can only see the overview. I think I'm on the 5th slide right now. Okay, let me stop sharing the screen for some time. So now let us deal with some rules first, and then we look at the PPT, because I think the PPT is lagging a lot for you.
Actually, if you share it in full screen mode, then only I can see it. It's something like that.
Oh, it was on the full screen mode itself. But I really don't know what is the issue. So we'll just run through the PPT at the end. Okay. Let us now look at some of the rules under subject verb agreement. And I expect you both to write these rules down because they are very important. So even if you don't make notes under the reading section, that is perfectly fine, but you need to make notes under the writing section. It is very important. So Avishi, can you tell me what is the basic and the general rule under subject verb agreement? No, that is something you have to focus on. What is the general and the basic of it? That is the topic. What is the rule? You tell me, Ananya.
Ma'am, that the verb should agree with the subject.
Yeah, I know that needs to happen, but explain it further, elaborate how. Just told you. If the subject, if it is plural, then the verb would be singular and vice versa. Vice versa matlab, what does this mean? If the verb is plural, then the subject would be singular. This is the main rule, okay? Apart from these, I think there is a list of 11 to 12 rules that I will be explaining to you right now. So the first rule, if you don't understand this, then there is no point of explaining it further, because all the rules are based on this. Okay. Now let us look at the second rule. Okay. So if we have the words like neither and nor, then the verb would be singular. Okay. So Ananya, would you like to give me an example? I'm only going to tell you about the rule. You have to think about the example and you have to give it. Both of you have to think of examples. Because without examples, you cannot understand this topic. Think about this. Think of a sentence that has neither and nor.
And the verb should be singular.
Yes.
Neither the teachers nor the students have accepted the decision.
Okay. Neither the teacher nor the students have accepted the decision. Okay. What is the verb over here?
The verb is have accepted.
Perfect. Is it singular or plural?
Singular.
Perfect. Now, how will you see if the question is like this? Just imagine if this is a blank and you have only this, neither the teachers nor the students dash the decision. Okay, then you'll have the options have accepted, and two more options, something like this. Now, how will you come to know that the right answer is have accepted? By looking at this. So both, see, first of all, you have the words neither and nor. Two things. Now, both of them are plural. Okay, and if the subjects are plural, the verb would be singular. And this rule, whenever you have two that are joined with neither and nor, then only this rule will be followed. Remember this. If you have the word and, then the condition would be something else. We'll look at it. Okay? Neither and nor. Can you tell me what are neither and nor? Are they coordinating conjunctions or subordinating conjunctions? Okay. Perfect. They are? Yes, they are subordinating conjunctions. Now let us look at the third rule. Okay. So whenever we have the word either, then the verb would be singular. So, example, either of them likes cakes or like to eat cakes. Likes to eat cakes. Okay, so here we have the word either. Either of them. Either of them likes to eat cake. So whenever we are talking about either of them, what happens? We are talking about one among the two or one among many. But our focus is just on one. Now remember this. We have the, what is this? We have the verb is likes. So is likes singular or plural? Yes, perfect. But here again, we are talking about a singular subject. And here we have a singular verb. Because as we know that either of the two or either of them, we are talking about one, irrespective of the number. So this is basically an exception. Whenever you have the word either, remember that the verb will always be singular. It won't be either of them like to eat cakes. No, this is wrong. Either of them likes to eat cakes. This is the right structure. Okay? Do you have any doubts till now? I'll give you some more examples. Should I erase this? If we are not able to see in the SAT writing section, it is very difficult to solve questions in the class. Okay, so what I always do, I will just explain the theory to you. I'll give you some example questions, and whatever I'll ask you to solve, you have to solve it from home because you will not have time to solve it in class. And this is, it is not like the reading section. It is quite easy if you have a good hold on your English language and you have already done the subject and verb agreement in your school. So as you just go through the questions, you'll find it quite easy. So you can do that at home, and in the next class, I will be randomly asking you questions and you'll give me the answer. Okay, so should I erase this? Have you made a note of this? I have some examples for you. Now, can you identify the subject? This is one subject. What is the other subject? Now, what is the form of he? Is it singular or plural? It is singular. What about sisters? Plural. Now, what do you think will come over here? Should you follow this subject or should you follow this subject? Sisters. Yes. So neither he nor his sisters were there. Now, always you have to follow the subject that is closest to the verb. Remember this, because there, this was an example where there was just two subjects, but there would be some sentences where you might have more than two subjects, 3, 4, 5, or like endless amount of subjects. Because in the exam, you will not have questions in a sentence. You will have questions in paragraphs. Paragraphs may be 2 to 3 sentences together, and then you have to identify the context as well. So in the sentences, you might have a single verb, but there would be many subjects. So always you have to focus on the subject that is closest to the verb. Okay. One more example. Here again we have two. He, his friends, singular. His friends is plural. The closest one will be friends. So he or his friends are to be playing. Okay. Is our was verb. Okay. To be playing. Fine. So, did you understand? You have to look at the subject that is the closest to the verb. Now, let us look at this. So, this is rule number 4. Rule number 4 has compound sentences or the clauses that are joined by and. Okay. So, now if I have this. What will you fill in the gap with? Fill in the gap with anyone else. Right. Okay, perfect. So you know the right answer is like to play. But if you see in the previous rule, what did I say? Priya, it is a singular. Okay. I, singular. Like would be plural. Okay, so you can just have one logic. Logic number 1 for this is that this is singular and this is plural and both come side by side. Hence, This is right. But the second logic is that whenever you have the word and you have like two subjects that are singular, it will automatically make the verb plural. Okay. So if I have to give you one more example, so Hari and Rima are playing. Again, you have two subjects combined together, two singular subjects combined together makes the verb plural. This is a very basic rule. Right? Do you have any doubts with this rule? Have you written that down? Should I erase the board? Done? Now we have rule number 5. Rule number 5 is about along with. So whenever you have along with, so along with, definitely if you have this, you will have two subjects. Okay. But you have to focus on which? The first subject. And how will the verb be determined? It will be determined on the first subject. So if the first subject it's plural, then the verb would be singular and vice versa. Okay? Did you understand this rule? Avisha, I want you to give me an example. I wrote if there is along with in the sentence. Okay? And definitely if there is along with. So what will I say? My friends along with me, or I along with my friends. So there are two subjects, right? So whenever the case is like this, I have to focus on the first subject. If the first subject is plural, the verb would be singular. If the first subject is singular, the verb would be plural. Give me an example. Okay. Let me write it like this. I along with my friends go to school. Okay. Now let us look at this. I is a singular. My friends is plural. Now here go. It should coincide with the word I. I go to school. This along with my friend is something additional. Okay? This is an additional information that is provided to you. I along with my friends go to school. So are these two coinciding with each other? I go to school. Okay, my friends go to school. It is also right. But always when you have along with, these two should coincide with each other. I'll give you an example. Have you written this down? What is the first subject? What is the second subject? First supporters. This is plural. Okay. But now what do we have to add over here? The candidate along with her supporters, leave or leaves. What we added? Leave the place. Why? Because we have to add a plural verb. So the first case go first. Yes. So because the first subject. Yes. I is singular, right? So go will be plural. What is the singular of go? It is. Now here if you look at this, she is third person singular. Right? Third person singular. Hence, it will be go. It will be goes because it is a singular verb. But if I have they, so it will become go. Okay? Are you understanding this? Tell me what doubts do you have. We will look at more examples and you will be able to understand. Is it difficult in maths, chemistry, biology? No, right? Okay, it's simple. Don't get confused. I wonder why Anya left the meeting. She might have some network issue. Okay. So we'll proceed. KHR25 Sat. Okay, then we have rule number 6. So whenever we have the words like every, each, no, it would be singular. Example, every student. Okay, so whenever I write singular over here, it is always about verb. Okay? Every student gets 2 chocolates. So here we have the word every. Student is, what is student? It is singular. Yes. And gets, it becomes a plural verb. And this would be vice versa. Okay. So every student gets, the verb is singular. So every student gets 2 chocolates. Okay. Then we have rule number 7. Each. The word each will also be singular. Each boy was sitting on the bench. Or science. Here we have the word each. Boy is singular. But again, the verb will also be singular. Okay, because each it will have singular verb. Any doubt? Is it simple? It's quite simple, don't worry. Let us move on to rule number 7. Rule number 7 is about gerunds. So what were gerunds? Tell me. Noun side. So whenever you have gerunds, then the verb would be singular. Okay. So give me an example. Any verb along with ing, use it as a noun. Snorkeling is a favorite. Which one? Snorkeling is a favorite. Snorkeling is a favorite sport. Okay. So what? So will I say snorkeling are? Alright. Snorkeling. So whenever you have a gerund, the verb after that will be singular. Perfect. Then we have collective nouns. Do you know what are collective nouns? Give me some examples. Okay. So collective nouns are basically, if I say bunch, it is a collective. Yes. The bunch is placed on the desk. I won't say the bunch are placed. Though if I say the bunch of keys, right? Still it would be is. So whenever we have a collective noun, it will always be is. So the colony is. Okay? There won't be are. Then we have two singular nouns and. So the ninth one. So whenever we have two singular subjects plus and, it will give rise to a singular verb. Okay? Give me an example. These two singular words should refer to one person. So, if I see it, the principal of my school is also the managing director of my school. So now what will I say? See, what I told you and, whenever we have and in two singular subjects, it will make the word plural. But here again, if both of them is just one person. So what will I say? The principal and the managing director. Ready? This is the trick. Okay, why? Because the principal and the managing director is the same. There is one person. So the principal and the managing director is coming. So whenever this is used, you get it like you should know that okay, both of them is the same. If I say the principal and the managing director are coming, then they both are different. Okay. Let us move on to rule number 10. If you try to read the book that is given to you, the rules are placed in a very complicated manner. When I was reading that for the first time, I too found it very difficult to understand what is written because it is very overlapping. The examples given there are good, but the rules are explained in a very complicated way. Okay, then we have rule number 10. It is about, okay, this is done. Yes. So if we have the word majority, and if we have the word majority of people, okay, tell me where will you use a singular verb and where will you use a plural? No, you are using the word majority in the sentence. Tell me if I say majority dash are in my party. Majority of people are in my party. Okay, so here I will have the word are. So it makes the verb to be plural. But here if I say majority dash, okay, I'll have to say the entire sentence. Majority is at my side. Okay? So here I will have is. It will make it singular. So why does this happen? Because majority is a collective noun. And what did we learn over here? Whenever we have a collective noun, we always have a singular subject. So majority together, it becomes a collective noun. So majority is majority of people. So here you are talking about more than one person, right? And hence the verb would be plural. Then we have I have used two different determiners in the same sentence. Same. Two different sentences, two different determiners. Can you tell me what is the difference in the sense? What is the meaning of a number of students and the number of students? Is right? Number of students is right. So number of students is also right. Yes, so it is a definite article and A is an indefinite article. Right? Now here, as it is specifying the students, the number of students, what do you think will be the word? Singular or plural? The right sentence would be a number of students are going for the trip. The number of students are going for the trip is wrong. The number of students is very less. Okay. Does this sentence make sense? A number of students are going for the trip. So this makes it specific. The number of students is very less, but a number of students are going for the trip. It makes it means to be like, okay, many students are going for the trip. And this, how this sounds to me, the number of students is very less. So the number is basically, it's just countable, and hence it is very less. So both are right. But whenever we have the, we have singular, and whenever we have a, we have plural. Did you understand this? Was it difficult? I think this is the last rule. We don't have any other rule. So we had 13 rules in all. Which rule did you find to be confusing? Have you written everything down? Yeah. Just go through it once. Tell me if you have any doubts in any of the rules. Then we'll run through the PPT quickly. We'll solve some sample questions. Here now, that's great. That is what is my work. I have to make this easy for you. The end of the session, when you go back home, you should have something new with you. Because this is something that you have already done in your school. But in today's session, I'm sure that you got to know much more than what you knew in your school. So that is what is important. Okay? Should I erase this? When I was also in school, I think all these topics were not even given importance. Only for me, subject verb agreement was just the first year. Subject singular verb. That's all. I didn't know any of these. But if you really have to have fluency in the English language, then all these rules are very important. Or else you won't be able to spot errors. The errors might seem very general to you, but they are actually errors and you need to spot them. Okay. So in your book, many examples are given. I would like if you go and if you read the book, then you won't get confused. If you read the book at the first time, then you will get really confused. But now, as you know all the rules, you can just look at the examples, then you'll find it very easy. Okay, there is one more thing about the prepositional phrases. Do you know what are prepositional phrases? So the phrases, as I told you, the difference between by the way. Yes. Okay. So of the day, by the way. All these are prepositions. Basically, it shows the position. Okay, so phrases are of many types. We have noun phrase, we have adverb phrase, we have adjective phrase. Okay, but all these, they are not that confusing when it comes to subject verb agreement. They will have clear answers. But whenever we have prepositional phrases, then we definitely tend to get confused. So I'll give you an example. The group of members. So this is actually a prepositional phrase. The group of members is extremely positive. Okay, so here we have a group of members who might have a positive mentality. Now, if you look at this, the group of members. Now, if you see the word group, what is this? Which noun? Which group is a collective noun? Okay, that's it. Yes. So the verb would be singular. Now this of members, this is some kind of an additional information that is given to you. If I remove this, the group is extremely positive. It is still making sense. So these prepositional phrases often tend to come in middle and they tend to confuse students. You always have to focus on the main subject. So what is the subject? The subject is group and not of members. It is prepositional phrase, it is some kind of additional information. Fine. Let me share screen and show you the PPT. Okay, so these are some of the subject verb agreement errors that are difficult to spot. Can you read this slide? Agreement is pretty easy to verify. Apples is versus apples are. However, when sentence structures become subject verb agreement, errors can be much harder to spot. Right? So does this make sense? In a simple sentence and in a compound sentence, it is very easy to spot errors. But whenever we have complex sentences where we have an independent clause and a dependent clause, it becomes very, very difficult to spot errors. Why? Because we have more than one subject. Right? In the simple sentence, we have one subject, one verb. In the compound sentence, we have two subjects and two verbs. But in the complex sentence, we have two or more subjects, but only one verb. Do you want me to write it down? Read this. Extra words with subject and verb. When additional words, especially other nouns, come between the subject and verb, errors are much easier to miss. Istanbul, the most populous of all European cities, were founded in first millennium BCE. This is incorrect. Istanbul, the most populous of all European cities, was founded in the first millennium. Why? Because we are talking about the subject Istanbul. And Istanbul is singular. So we need to have was over here. Though we have cities, that is the closest to the verb, but still we will focus on Istanbul. Okay? Because this is what is this called? This is known as an adjective phrase. Okay, so this is a kind of an additional information that is provided to you. If I just remove this, Istanbul was founded in the first millennium BCE, it makes sense. Some additional words are there, so this additional phrase is over there that is not really needed, but it's giving me some additional information, so I can just delete it and focus on the main subject. Okay. Read this. Worded sentences. Sometimes the subject will come after the verb. When this is the case, agreement errors are trickier to identify. Separating the roads were a concrete period. Separating the roads was a concrete. You seem confused. Tell me what is the subject? Roads. What is the subject? The subject is concrete medium. Okay. And what is the object? Okay. The roads is the object. And what is the verb? Was separated. Now this is an inverted sentence. Now try to give me the SVO form of this sentence. So what will you have? The subject, the verb, and the object. Yes, perfect. So now look at the sentence. The concrete medium subject, it is singular, and hence the verb is was. Okay. Now whenever you see these words, am, is, are, was, were, they are, by default, is singular, are is plural, was is singular, were is plural. You will not have s or es after that in order to make it singular. Okay, these are the verbs. These are the form of by. So these are by default the same. So if you have a singular noun, a singular subject, singular verb. Okay, you just have to remember the difference between the singular and the plural verbs. Okay, so is, plays, swims, all these are singular words. But if I look at plural, are, play, swim, were. Okay, so they are by default under singular and plural. This makes it confusing because the rule for subjects that are nouns, it is different. So whenever it has S, the verb has S, it is singular. Whenever it does not have S, it becomes. Okay. Read this. These are some of the tips.
Problems place subject and verb side by side. Anytime you're not sure if a subject and verb agree, place them next to each other and see how they sound together. The thing helps cut through complex sentences, structures, and tends to be subject verb agreement. Errors much more obvious. Look out for prepositions. Prepositions like with, often, from, are often used to start phrases that describe the subject of the sentence. These phrases can confuse and cause confusion as the object of the prepositional phrase ends up used and is often a noun with a different noun. For example, the sound of the trumpet was sticky. Plurals and letter S. With nouns, plurals are usually formed by adding an S to the end of the word. Elephant, elephants, with verbs. Though the pattern is exactly the opposite, typically we form will work by removing an S. The elephant runs, the elephants run.
Okay, so did you find it anything difficult? You understand the tips? So this is basically about the phrases, the additional phrases that give additional information and they are of no use. This is what is the main rule that I told you over there. And this is, you have to place the subject and the verb side by side by removing all the additional information. Simple. Okay, so this is the first question. Read the first question.
Sitting on the couch and watching TV was the best place that Eric knew how to pass the time. Unfortunately, he couldn't pass 11.
Stop. So while you were reading the sentence, I'm sure you were able to spot the difference. It was the best ways.
Best way.
So here, the thing that you have to change is already underlined. Okay, so one task is done. You don't have to identify the error. You know you have to change this particular phrase in order to make the sentence meaningful. So this becomes easy. In some sentence, you don't have the part underlined. Or in some sentence, you simply have a blank. So it makes it difficult. Now tell me, what will be the right one? C. Sitting on the couch and watching TV were the best ways. Okay. Now here I think the numbering is wrong. This is the second one. Read this.
Arcade the backs and mistake is a behavior of many. Then they feel that it is
Same.
behaviors. Missing are
Right? Arching their backs and hissing are behaviors. Now if you look at the word arching and hissing, what are they?
verbs.
Verb is, are and is. They are gerunds. ing, noun with ing. Okay. So both of them are gerunds. So whenever you have two gerunds, means you have two nouns and hence they are joined with the verb and that makes it plural. Okay, so the last option D is correct. The third one,
Number of new fans from my hometown Boston are astonishing when you consider that the city used to be much smaller than it is today.
now here, okay, you have the underlined verb, okay, tell me what is the right answer.
It's astonishing.
You remember we had done the rule of the number and a number. Revisit that rule. See, if you have the number, what should be the word? Singular. The number of bands from my hometown of Boston is astonishing. Okay, perfect. Next one.
The egg and the egg yolk, which have little in common with one another, is very versatile. When it comes to preparing a home cooked meal, are very versatile.
Because you're talking about two subjects, that makes it plural. And you have this additional information, that is the adjective phrase, which have that you can remove. So, this one.
Boy among many friends celebrate this birthday in lavish style, having things at
You had done a rule with among with. Revisit that rule.
subject.
So here you don't have anything underlined, right?
Celebrate his birthday.
Yes, celebrate his birthday is in a lavish way is wrong.
See,
Yes. So here you have the boy, that is the first subject, because we have among, we look at the first subject. The first subject is singular. So the verb, it will be celebrates. Though we have many friends, so this becomes wrong. We only have to look at the first subject and the verb that coincides with the boy celebrates his birthday in a lavish way and not the boy celebrate. Okay. Next one.
style of leadership. He annoys the people who must work under such leaders.
What is autocratic? What is democratic? Do you know Hitler? What is his full name? I would say Rudolf Hitler. No, so Adolf Hitler, he followed dictatorship. Okay, so that is different. Autocratic is basically when you listen only to the government. So the government framing policies, framing rules for citizens. But what is democratic? Democratic, yes. So it is very simple definition. Democratic is when citizens get the opportunity to choose their leaders, and citizens are at the first place and not the government. So the needs of the citizens are to be looked at. But autocratic is basically here they are talking about leadership. So only the leader is the center of focus, which is wrong. Okay. Tell me what is the right answer.
He annoys the
Okay. Perfect.
classic children's book. Players encounter good or bad spaces while traveling along the path. Landing on one of the good spaces, dash a player to skip ahead and arrive closer to the end.
Now, if you see the question, it does not have a sentence. It has the entire description. Now, this will definitely have many subjects. But in the options, you have to fill in the blank with only one word. Now, identify the subjects and then coincide the subjects with the noun. So, which is the first subject? The classic children board games. This is the first subject, irrespective of the name. So here the subject is. Is it coinciding with it? Yes, perfectly. It's a version of an ancient Nepalese game. In both games, now here you are talking about two games. Players encounter good or bad spaces while traveling along a path, landing on one of the good spaces. Now, here you have to focus on which is the subject over here. Focus on this sentence. We already know the verb. Yes. Games is the subject. If games is the subject, how will the A1 be right? Won't the B1 be right? Because games is plural. So the subject would be games. Such type of questions are confusing. Okay. Now here you have to identify errors. That's all. These type of questions don't come in the SAT exams. It's just for your practice. Tell me which part of the sentence do you find error? Read the first one.
If these number in Los Angeles, the sound of children getting at the beach or a week, they indicate that it is a summer vacation.
Is it right? I found an error in part C. That it is in part C. That is at the beach on a weekday indicate.
Indicates that
Why will it be indicates?
speech is the subject. Speech is not the subject.
Which is the object. The sound of the children.
Sound of the children is the subject.
Okay. So this is again a complex sentence. Next one.
Selfie, which is a photograph taken by very narcissistic people, is extremely popular on various social networking and are extremely popular. Which are photograph.
Think about it. See, you know, so whenever you have punctuation marks, this is very important. Note this down. Whenever you have these three punctuation marks, the first one is commas, the second one is dash, and the third one is parenthesis. Do you know what are parenthesis? Brackets. Dash is this, and commas is this. Okay. So whenever you have commas, dash, and parenthesis, be very careful. Because between commas, two commas, okay, or two dashes, or the parenthesis, there will always be supplement information. So if you see, this is again a supplement information, which is a photograph taken by many narcissistic people. So you see, selfie is extremely popular. This was enough, but this is just a supplement that is given to us. So the selfie is, isn't it right? Yes, so the answer would be no error. So be very careful when you see these punctuation marks. Okay, these tend to confuse students a lot. Read the third one.
An effective, helpful tutor demonstrates exceptional knowledge, is responsive to the needs of the students, and listens to them carefully.
You know what you did? By while reading, you said, of her students and listens to them carefully. Did you notice what I did right now? So the error, yes, so the error was there itself. The right answer was listens to them, but you read that as listens to them. Okay, so this also happens. This is a good thing because whenever you tend to read the question, so automatically your brain will let you know the right answer while reading because you have good hold of the English language. Right? So the problem, the error was in this, but you read it as listens. The fourth one,
Extremely careful analysis of handwriting samples should be unlikely to write sentence. That's right.
it's not right. Anyway, what is the subject? You are very confused. Don't get nervous. There is a prepositional phrase. That has nothing to do. See, the subject is extremely careful analysis. This is the subject. Of handwriting samples, what is this? This is a prepositional phrase. And it would be shows because extremely careful analysis is a singular subject.
It sounds right. So you should.
We are talking about this extremely careful analysis of handwriting subjects. We are not dealing, this is just a prepositional phrase. We are just focusing on this. We are just focusing on analysis. We are not concerned about what. So the analysis shows that creative people, see, if you just remove this, extremely careful analysis shows that creative people are more likely to write rounded letters. Of handwriting samples, we are not concerned with. We are concerned with analysis, that is our subject. Okay? The last one.
Playing sports such as basketball, football, or baseball allow children to learn teamwork and develop cooperation. Allows. Read against sports, not all the sports. Can be basketball or football.
Here they are just given examples to us. Just focus on the first part. Identify what is the noun. This is the noun. What is the subject? This is the subject. Sports allow. Simple. Don't get confused. See, now you really need to practice with the questions that are given in your book. Don't get confused. This is very simple. You have all the rules. You know, your brain will automatically lead you to the right answer if you have a good hold of this language. Don't worry. This is very simple. This is just the first topic. And this is not even new for you. You will have so many topics in this writing section. It is very objective. The reading section is subjective, but this is very objective. You have to remember the rules and you have to stick to them. You cannot, interpret anything in this. Do we have time left? Hardly. Where do you say?
Washi.
Say Vashi. That's the reason it's time for you to come over here, right? How do you come? And she waits over here like was. So I hope you don't have any doubts. So your homework for today is go to page number 8. We have 8 questions, page number 8 and page number 9. Okay, so as Ananya couldn't attend the entire session, I expect you to solve all 8. If you both would have been in class, I would have assigned 4 to you and 4 to you. But now you have to solve all 8. I'll be asking anything at a random in the next session. Okay. The next topic is pronoun antecedent article. So I'm very interested. It is just like subject verb agreement. Also do one thing, read the entire content once. Read the entire chapter. See to it if you find something confusing or if you find that okay, teacher missed this out or I'm not able to understand this, mark that and we can discuss that in the next session and solve all these 8 questions. And don't try to read, pronoun antecedent agreement. We'll do that in class or else you'll get very much confused between both. Okay. Now just focus on subject verb agreement. So what was your take from today's class? What new did you learn? One thing that you can remember and then you go home and tell your parents, okay, that this is something I learned in class. And your parents should say, okay, you knew this before, what is new?
You talk really basic.
Nice. So that is
Very
that is actually prescriptive grammar. This is descriptive grammar. Now we are actually describing this entire thing. Just like, you know, chemical, I have completed, like I'm pursuing my master's in English right now. And there, like, we are given sentences where we have to just, you know, what we say, we just have to bifurcate them. And it actually looks like chemical formulas. Actually, a sentence where we have to specify what is the form of the sentence. Like I was writing, it was the noun and the subject. So this is how we are supposed to do. So this is all the descriptive writing grammar, and that is what is there in the stat writing. You'll find this very interesting. And definitely, if you talk to your friends, your school friends who are not pursuing stat, your knowledge will be much more than them. So you can leave. Thank you so much. Do your homework in the next session. We'll discuss the questions. Doing one session. Or the study session. It's not my session.
It was written. We are English lecture by nature.
When she would take the lecture. I didn't get any of this. Thank you.